Donald Trump is filling out the roster of his dream team. Some of the faces are familiar, even more of them may be very familiar, or not at all. So who are the contenders? Why does it matter? It does, believe me. The panel tonight, Josh Rogin, CNN political analyst, columnist at The Washington Post. Susan Del Percio is a Republican strategist. Carl Higbie is a former Navy SEAL who is very supportive of Donald Trump. Congratulations, Carl. Jonathan Tasini, not a fan of Donald Trump, a Democratic strategist who is very supportive of Bernie Sanders throughout the campaign, also once ran against Hillary Clinton during her campaign for Senate. All, thank you. Let's get started. Carl, congrats. Get that out of the way. Now on to you. Susan, first to you. Thousands of jobs to fill. Very little time to fill it. It sounds, I'm going to admit it, it sounds insanely boring. Fill some jobs, read some resumes. Sure, you have qualified people, but it really matters. These are people, especially at the top spots, that are going to help Donald Trump decide the direction of the country, right?
It is the biggest, if this is the most important thing Donald Trump will do this year, is show, for the rest of the year, show who he is choosing to surround himself with.
Yes.
And these people are going to probably be a diverse group. It wouldn't surprise me if you see some people from previous administrations, and obviously some of the people from his campaign. But it will be sending a huge message internationally, for example, who he picks for Foreign Affairs, Secretary of State, Defense Secretary, as well as domestically who he chooses as Secretary of Treasury. So it's a very, very important time. Obviously, everyone's curious about who his chief of staff will be, because that's really the person who has to go in day to day and deal with the president.
I'm sure you have a couple thoughts, Josh, because I know that you speak, you cover foreign affairs very extensively. Yeah. But chief of staff also speaks to just that. And Steve Bannon and Reince Priebus, I don't think you could find two more different people and how they operate.
Right. Well, foreign affairs is important because these people need security clearances. That takes time. You can't start the war on terror. It's already going on, so you've got to have those people in place. But what we see in the chief of staff battle is the same thing we see in the Secretary of State battle. You have moderate, mainstream, establishment Republicans on one side.
Priebus.
Yes, or the Bob Corker.
Right.
And then you have the Trump loyalists who are outside the mainstream and really want to shake things up. That's the Steve Bannon, or in Secretary of State case, Newt Gingrich, okay? And there's a struggle going on inside the transition, and it's not clear which side Trump is going to take. And one is a signal to the Republican establishment that we want to work with you and bring you in and build bridges, and the other one is a signal to the Republican establishment that you've done wrong, we're pushing you aside, and it's a new day.
Let me ask you this, on the kind of the concept of a new day. You have already had, since he won, Donald Trump's close advisors I'm going to call it soft peddling on some of his campaign promises. Rudy Giuliani was not going there in interviews saying that, yes, they will appoint a special prosecutor. He will appoint a special prosecutor to investigate Hillary Clinton. Then it just came out that Newt Gingrich, speaking to a group of lawyers, said this about building the wall. He said this: he'll spend a lot of time controlling the border. He may not spend very much time trying to get Mexico to pay for it, but it was a great campaign device. Really, Carl?
So I think what's happening now is you know, Donald Trump, I believe he's going to build that wall. I believe he's going to get it done. But the fact of the matter is Mexico's not going to hand us a check and say, build the wall. What they're going to do...
That's what you'll said the entire campaign.
But Congress isn't going to hand you one either.
Yeah,
that's the bigger problem.
But I think they will. I actually think they will. I think what's going to happen is the Congress...
Good luck with
Donald Trump's... Hey, you said that with the election.
You are
absolutely
right.
So, but the fact of the matter is, we're going to sit there and he's going to go, look, we got to secure our nation. And also, if he can justify it under national security, he doesn't necessarily need to go through Congress for all factions of it.
But, I mean... Do you really want a president? This was what he railed against, is that Barack Obama overused the stroke of the pen. I mean, do you want, like, executive order after executive order paying for a wall?
I want to keep our nation safe. And if we have to go around Congress to do that, yes, I want to keep our nation safe.
Your surprise is surprising to me, because Donald Trump is a pathological liar, as Bernie Sanders pointed out a number of times. You can't trust him. And second, if you actually read the transcripts of the debates, and I did that being the geek that I am, if you read them, he's not capable of stringing together a coherent thought in 3 or 4 sentences. So the fact that he's confused and changing his mind and you're not sure is indicative, I think, of what we're looking at, and quite dangerous, I think, for the nation.
But you know what? I did not support Donald Trump. Yeah. But right now, he is president-elect.
No,
he is going to be our president, and we have to do a lot to support him to make the best choices.
I will do my best to delegitimize him and make sure he's a one-term president, because I do think he's a racist, a bigot, a pathological liar, and someone who is, I think, committed sexual assault.
Well, what about in politics before countries?
No, I'll tell you why it's not not
No,
politics
wait,
before country.
Jonathan.
No, let me
But
see.
wait, you've got Bernie Sanders, a man that you love. You've got Hillary Clinton. You've got Barack Obama, someone that you're supportive of as well. All of them saying, give Donald Trump a chance.
And then
Why not?
And well, Bernie Sanders, I think, has been a little different. That he has said that if Donald Trump continues to promote what he promoted in the campaign, which is racism, bigotry, hate, and division.
Can you define racism for me? Because you always throw this out there.
Well, when you, I know this is hard for you to believe and understand, but when you promote the idea that the President of the United States was not born here, the so-called birther movement, which Donald Trump did.
Is that racist?
That's
Okay, so
racist.
that is racist.
If you ask the question, you're a racist.
Here's the thing.
If you ask the question, you're a racist. If you don't understand that.
That's
Okay, we're not going to heal right now. That's for sure. Let me get. I want you to give me a final button on this. You cover Congress. What about this debate? Promises made are promises going to be kept. Is Congress going to fund a wall?
Right.
What do you think?
Yeah, there will be a bill to fund portions of the wall that will have
bill
yes.
to fund portions of the wall.
Well, that's the first step. It doesn't have
two-thirds of it's already built.
Exactly. So the bottom line here is that campaigning is different than governing. Okay, nobody expects a candidate to fulfill all of his promises. It doesn't work that way. Donald Trump has a choice. As far as we can tell, he hasn't made that choice. Is he going to go in the direction of the campaign, which was divisive, or is he going to go in the direction of a presidency, which is unifying? Right. He's thinking about it right now. A lot of people are hoping that he goes in that latter direction. Early indications
and let me just leave you this. Let me leave you this with this final thought. Let me leave you this with this final thought. Promises made are not always promises kept. One, Barack Obama said he was going to close Guantanamo Bay, Cuba. It was the first day of his presidency. He walked in, he signed the order. Guess what is still open today? The Guantanamo Bay.
That's also Congress's fault.
Boots on the ground, too.
Stop blaming everything on Congress, even though it normally is their fault. All right, coming up, protesters take to the streets. What does President-elect Donald Trump do? He takes to Twitter, first slamming them and whining that they're being unfair, and then just as quickly praising them. Why, oh why, Carl, does he still have a Twitter account? The panel will discuss after this.